Today, I want to show you something amazing. So I use Claude a lot. I use Claude usually as the AI chat agent that you talk to through the browser. And I do use it from time to time on the desktop, so the desktop app. Now, the desktop app is special in its own way. And the way it is special is that it has a configuration file. Basically, it can connect to other services the browser app cannot. So we can work with more connectors. And this gives it a whole different meaning. And with MCPs, I've never really played with it, but recently I actually put in a couple of MCPs and I tried something out and I think I'm onto something. I think I was able to get 10x value out of the Claude desktop app than I've ever had before with it, just by linking it to 2 to 3 MCP servers that are available, and I'm going to show you today. And fundamentally, what those servers with Claude's powerful intelligence and Opus 4.1 particularly, this enabled me to build systems on the run, on the go, in seconds or minutes to be more accurate. And the only thing I need to do is have an idea, a really solid idea, research it maybe a little bit, and go to Claude Desktop and just ask it to create it out of thin air for me. So let me show you what I've done. We're gonna build a small system just for fun. And if you don't know me, my name is Samir. I'm here to help you learn AI, use AI, do amazing things with it like I do. And hopefully you enjoy this video. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button, like button, and share it with others if you enjoy it. And with this and without any further ado, let's get started.
Subscribe to Daddy's channel. The mic.
Before I take you to Claude Desktop, I want to show you the MCPs that I used to connect to it. Now, there's so many MCPs out there, so do your own research. And with some of these tools, your creativity can be really untapped. But at the same time, I would caution you to be careful with these MCP servers. You're giving them potentially access to certain information. So you have to be really careful. Try to understand the server you're connecting to. Try to read what people are saying about it when it comes to safety, and then cautiously connect to these servers. You can play with it and disconnect. Claude usually helps you well in that, or ChatGPT. Just this is for you to know. But with this, let me show you. So this is the n8n MCP. So I hope you all know n8n. n8n, which we will just look at when I create something today with this, is basically an automation platform, artificial intelligence automation platform. If you don't know it, there's things like Zapier and other tools that allow you in a low code or no code setup to create automation flows that can do things for you fundamentally through triggering events and then certain nodes that perform actions, API calls, even run code, and then you get certain results either by a file downloaded or an email sent or a document created. So if you want to explore more about that, believe me, YouTube is filled with things around n8n from beginner to advanced. But assuming that you know it or you did the research and you got to know what we're talking about here, this MCP server is a server that will give Claude Code context when it comes to using n8n nodes. So the documentation of n8n, and I believe many people already tried this themselves, to actually download the documentation of n8n and just feed it to maybe a Claude project or a ChatGPT project. You either hit a certain limit or that this doesn't work well. So this server actually does that for you. This is an MCP server that once you connect to Claude or any actually artificial intelligence that connects to an MCP, you have access to all of that documentation through actions. So basically, the model will understand certain tools that it gained access to when connecting to this MCP server. And this will enable the AI to basically look into some of the nodes that n8n has, ideas around what these nodes do, the kind of configuration they need, and how they connect together. Potentially, the theory behind this is if you have this connected to Claude and you ask Claude to create a flow for you, it should, and it does. So I will not cover the installation of this. There is actually a video linked to this repo. I'm going to have the repo link in the description. But once you go to that link, if you scroll down, you will see all of the instructions that you need. And actually, there is a video that you can click. You'll go to YouTube, watch that video and follow it step by step when you install the MCP server. Now, there's two things that you need to look at and decide. There's the basic configuration and there's the full configuration for this server. The difference is with the full configuration, you can, and I tried it, give access to this server directly to your n8n instance. So if you have n8n and you're using it, you can actually, if you see here on the bottom, you can simply give it the URL for your instance of n8n and the API key. And this will allow Claude Code, Cursor, whatever tool you're connecting this MCP to, actually to build the flow for you. Now, I've started with this and then I downgraded to this one, which is the basic, for two reasons. One, I don't want to forget something that has access to my n8n fundamentally. And two is actually didn't really work well. So with these MCP servers, you need to be very careful how you use them. Not all deliver on the promises, or not all deliver on the promises until you know how to deal with them or prompt the AI that deals with them better. I didn't find value in the model or the MCP server actually pushing whatever Claude Code creates for me directly into n8n. So I decided just to opt into giving access to Claude Code to the general library of documentation, get the code from it, download it into a JSON file, and then importing that file into n8n. So that for me was a better way to do it. So just know that, decide for yourself what you want to do. It's interesting to see it build things for you, so you can start with the full configuration. If you didn't like it like I did, you can then downgrade back to the basic configuration. Now, this is one. The other thing we're gonna connect today, at least, the Cloud Desktop application to is Airtable. And this is Airtable. And I hope you know it, because if you spent 30 minutes in the world of automation, you already know Airtable. It's one of the most robust ways to maintain, control, link to automations, databases in the form of tables. And it's super smart, super easy to deal with, super robust. And this is why many people prefer sometimes dealing with Airtable over doing things over Excel, for example, or Google Sheets. This is smarter, powerful. You can run functions within it. You can actually run automations within the sheet itself, native to Airtable. So it's an amazing application. Now, the reason I'm showing it to you is there's already an extension for Airtable in the Cloud Desktop app. And it's different from that MCP. And you can, with the click of a button on the Cloud Desktop app, actually install that extension for Airtable. But you're gonna need an API key. And the reason to get it is actually, if you have an account, you go to the top right, to this side here, and you go to the Builder Hub. And here you can actually get your API key, which you will need to complete the connection on the Cloud Desktop app. Okay, so what I advise whenever you're giving an MCP server like Airtable access to your account, do not give it access to every table that you have or every base. Create a base. Call it, for example, I called one n8n automations just to test this and showcase for you. And then I gave the API key that I used to connect Airtable to Cloud Desktop only access to that one base, which I called n8n automations. Just in case it goes off the rails, at least that kind of experimental table or that table that have that specific project gets affected and nothing else. So just a piece of caution there. And once we do that, we're ready to go to Cloud Desktop. So let me go there. Let me open Cloud Desktop. So this is Cloud Desktop in full screen. And before we go there, I want to show you just where you can see all of these configurations and the areas that you do the connection between Cloud Desktop app and MCP servers. So if you go to Cloud, click at it here, you have to go to settings. Once in settings, you will get to this page and you see at the bottom this developer tab. So this is where you go to install the n8n MCP. So if you click at it, you're going to see some of the MCP servers I already have connected, and you see Airtable MCP service here. Now the MCP server, I didn't install like others here, and these you actually get to install through editing the config file. You click at this, a file will open on either Cursor or VS Code, whatever IDE you have on your computer. And there you can simply copy paste the code that you get from the README files of the instructionals that you get with any of these MCP servers. Straightforward stuff, very easy. If you get issues, just check with ChatGPT or Claude Code, it will help you sort it out. Now, extensions here, if you click at it, there are native extensions or things that are pre-designed or pre-engineered within Cloud Desktop. You only need to hit install. And you can see here, 2 of the MCP servers I showed you, actually I got directly from the extensions. And here you can configure them. Basically, you can change certain settings or even change the API key. Now, if you click this button, Browse Extensions, you will see all of them, and you can see the ones I've installed, the Airtable one and the Context 7 one. Installing those is nothing. Like, just click a button. If it needs an API key to connect, it will ask you for that, and that's it. And there's so many other things that you can connect here. So you can go here. There are things that available for the desktop extension, so the desktop application, and there are things available for the web version. So these ones here, once you install them, if you don't know, you know now, you can actually gain access even through the browser. These ones are explicitly for the desktop extension. Okay, so let's assume you go in, you connect Airtable, you connect the n8n MCP server. Now you have both connected to a super powerful AI model, especially for coding, and these things work with code. And now you want to build something on n8n. Usually, every automation you build, it will need a place where you store data, a database. That's where Airtable comes in. Now, the crazy thing about all of that, even if you get good in building with n8n, and I think I can consider myself good, like average, above average in n8n. There are crazy people out there who build complex things. And still, like me, it is a daunting job. You want to have the first draft built for you. You go in, tweak things, add nodes, remove nodes, and just run your automation. And also, you want that kind of database to be built for you in Airtable. And this is what the Airtable MCP will do for you. And I've tested this one, and it's super accurate and super solid. And you can easily delete a table if you don't like it. You can modify it. But in everything I experienced this server with, I got exactly and perfectly what I wanted on the Airtable based on the prompt I gave to Claude. So with these two, you can theoretically build really complex systems just by prompting Cloud Desktop, and it will do the rest for you. Now, we're going to do one thing. I have an automation. If you look at my previous videos, you can see what I do with it. It's an AI news automation. So it's a system where I just trigger it with a click of a button. It goes on the internet, does lots of research, goes to things like Reddit, X, YouTube, transcribes, scrapes content, and by the end of it, it will give me a kind of a report and a script for video that covers the AI news in the past week. I'm gonna build it today with this. I'm not gonna actually configure it and fix it and beautify it in front of you. That will take time. It's beyond the cause of this video. In this video, I just want to show you how it works, and then maybe you can replicate something on your own. I would always be smart in building n8n. I see people building lots of complex things. People think complex is better. It's not. I'm an engineer. So if you are an engineer-minded person, I would design the idea and I would find the most optimized, simplest way to achieve my goal. Usually, AI will actually, unless you prompt it, I'll try to prompt it to do what I prefer to do, but it might complicate things. So I'm going to give it a prompt that will create that system for me, and then we're going to see what we get. And just a piece of advice here, the way I would do it is actually I would go to ChatGPT Deep Research. I would literally ask ChatGPT Deep Research to do research on such an automation and how it works for me. And even I tell ChatGPT, and by the way, for internet search, I prefer Perplexity. For other things, I prefer this type of node or that type of node. But do the research for me based on n8n and tell me how this automation would look like. So you get kind of the whole context of the automation ready, and just you add that to a couple of sentences that you send Claude Code, and you get your automation. As I mentioned before, so this is the deep research ChatGPT did for me about the AI news automation. So let me just scroll down. I'm not even gonna go through it. I'm gonna take the whole thing, copy it, and then go back to Cloud Desktop. Now, before we actually start a new chat with Claude, it's not your usual chat. So when you go to the n8n MCP server to install it, if you scroll down, so after you install the MCP server, there are even instructions to how to create a Claude project, which you can find online, which you will be able to access on the web and the Cloud Desktop app. In the same repo for n8n that I showed you that you will go to install your MCP server, you will find ready to copy paste instructions to create a project on n8n. If you use the MCP server with a normal chat, it will work. That's not an issue. But just within the Claude projects, within the project instructions, it will make its performance better. So you can see these are the instructions, and these are an exact copy paste from that repo that I'll share the link with you for. So after you install the server, create a project, call it whatever you want. I called it for me n8n MCP builder, and then add the instructions that are there on the repo. Nothing else is different. Here, you can now paste the deep research, the results that I just showed you. And now I'm gonna give it a quick prompt that I'll describe to you without reading it word for word. And we're gonna hit run and see what build we get out of this request to Cloud Desktop app. Okay, so this is the prompt. Fundamentally, I told it, this is the research. It's a research about building an AI news automation. I need you to look at it as an expert in n8n and Airtable and automations in general. You are very smart in how you build. You are effective. You choose the effective way, but also the simple way to maintain those flows without issues. So look at it. Work with the preferred nodes if the customer, so I told it it's a customer type of input. If the customer prefers certain nodes, work with them. If there's no specification, you decide on the best node to use. And I made it very clear the outcome that I want out of this request. I want a JSON code to be downloaded and then imported into n8n as a ready to configure or fully configured flow, ready to go and ready to test. And then table or tables created in the n8n automations base that is connected to this server that I gave it access to. And I told it use these servers to get the information or be able to push the actions that you need. Now, I am using here, just to be clear, Claude Opus 4.1, and I'm activating extended thinking. So with this, let me push and let's see what we get. I will show you the final output of this run. I will show you how it looks. I will show you along the way some of the magic that happens with access to these servers. And I'm going to show you the table. As I said, I will not run it for you. This is something for you to explore on your own. But this is the part where you're going to see the closest what I would call magic when in the world of AI happening in front of your eyes. Let's hit go. And here goes nothing. So now it will start thinking about the whole prompt and the context I provided, and it will start accessing those MCP servers. So the first thing it started doing is actually looking into Airtable. So it's listing the bases, just making sure it has access to what it needs. So it also verified. So it tells me, yeah, I have access to the n8n automations. Okay, so it went directly, it analyzed the request, and it went directly, this is seconds by the way, since the push of the prompt. It's going directly to create the table. Now, as it works, let me go to Chrome and show you what's happening there. So let me do this. Let me put this on one side and let me open Chrome, and Chrome will go on this side. I'm going now to my tables. This is my n8n automation. So if we look at it, we have the table here. So if we scroll right in the table, so let me just make this a little bit smaller. So if we move right, so we have item ID, run date, title, summary, sources, YouTube links, lab tags, category, important score, okay, important score, publish date, duplicate of, and raw JSON. Okay, let's see what's doing with that. So here, if we scroll down, so it listed the bases and then it created a table. Now let me build the n8n workflow first. Let me search for the necessary nodes. You can see here, it's search for the nodes. It's looking for the nodes. let me build, and now it's building. So it did the table and now it's building the automation. In theory, and I've tested it, if you ask it for something too complex, it will go off the rails. Ask it specifically to be simplifying the automation. It will build something that probably it will take you 30 minutes more to configure, connect to the Airtable here. Just select it in the configuration of n8n, and then you have a fully operational automation. I hope we get a good result here when I show you the outcome. But in my experience, I got pretty close to complex level things out of this. So it fully did the whole automation for me. And it's just explaining to me the Airtable setup and then the workflow and what I need to actually plug into my workflow to get it to work. And okay, it's just telling me some even optional enhancements I can do on this. So let me, in my artifact, actually download it as text, and then I need to change it into, actually, let me copy it and let me open quickly VS Code. I'll open a new file in VS Code. I will call it n8n.json. So I will put it into downloads, create the file there. And here I'll simply paste what I got from Cloud Desktop. I'll hit save. And now I can close the VS Code application. Now let me go to the browser. I'm gonna go to my n8n instance and I'm gonna import this. Let me put it back in full screen. So this is n8n. So if you've never seen it, this is how it looks. Let me go to this way of looking at things. I will create a new workflow and we're going to see an empty canvas where I can actually build things here. What I will do is I'm going to click on these three dots and I'm going to import from file. I will go to my downloads and I will click at the n8n and we have an automation ready. You can see it feels like magic. Like it just took me one click, one import, and I have an automation. Now, this is not a finished product. So I have two things now. So let me rename it first. AI News Automation. Perplexity, for example, it actually did it in an HTTP request, but I'll have to replace this with the native Perplexity node. It's an easy swap I can do. Okay, and then let me see what else it has. It has something around Reddit feeds. Okay, generate YouTube feeds, read the YouTube RSS. So I will have to actually walk into this automation step by step until I get it to work. It could take anything between 30 minutes to 45 minutes. I think this will take even less because it is simple. And many of these nodes, I just have to replace them. This is Gemini. I'll just replace it with the native Gemini node, or you can use something else. This is actually probably we will need the agent node here to write the script for us, and then parse all responses. Okay, create an Airtable record, and then prepare an email summary, and then send the email. It is something that rather than I build it step by step, which sometimes makes sense, it is something that did, I would say, 40 to 60% of the work for me. And then here, I will just go in and start swapping things. After that, I'll just start clicking and getting a full up-to-date AI news script in my email and in my Airtable. So when I go back to my Airtable in the future, I can just find everything I need here. So let me refresh. Oh, this is the one that has the new table. So I can come here, find the script itself, all the details, all the news, all the links that are linked. So I have sources and I have YouTube links, and I can actually do my own digging into these links and then deliver my video. So I hope you enjoyed this. I know it could be overwhelming if you've never dealt with these systems before. Believe me, follow my recommendations step by step. Open or download Cloud Desktop, set it up, install MCP servers, figure out things, and build your first flow or first project. Don't do it with the deep research even. Just ask it for something simple. Get it done. See how it builds it on n8n and then on Airtable. Do the connection. Figure it out from A to Z and work out your automation. And then you will realize how powerful this technology is. Now again, this is to the quality of that technology today. And believe me, this is moving super fast. Maybe in 6 months or 1 year, you go back to this video and you figure out that by that time, Claude models are so smart and enabled by MCP servers that are well maintained that actually this gets it 99% correct. So you don't even need to configure most of the things. You just need to connect the dots and run the automation. But for you to be able to deal with that at that time, you have to start today and play with these tools and build something simple. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Build something, tell me what you've built in the comment section. And if you want me to do something else when it comes to Claude Code, Cloud Desktop, MCP servers, write me a comment in the comment section. And again, I hope you got value and you enjoyed this. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button. I really need it to keep going. Hit the like button, share it with others who are asking you about Claude and Cloud Desktop. And with this, thank you for watching and goodbye.
Subscribe to Daddy's channel. Give me the mic.